Hello, and welcome to another video on daily weather charts, where we diagnose the current weather pattern and discuss how it will play out for the upcoming day. Given that we have severe thunderstorms that are developing currently, this video is going to mostly focus on discussing the severe weather threat for Monday, August 7th. And so if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll get started. And I'm going to jump right into the radar view for this morning. This is valid up through about 9 a.m. And we have some scattered showers and storms that are tracking through the Great Lakes region. But the main show right now is these storms here that are forming ahead of or just along the cold front that's going to be moving down to the southeast today. And so these storms over in eastern Arkansas and southwest Tennessee, those are going to be tracking to the east-southeast at around 40 to 50 miles per hour. And so I think those storms might be the main ones that impact North Alabama, but we'll see how storms evolve today. And so we're going to go right into the upper air charts. And we're going to start at 300 millibars as we normally do, and we're looking for the jet stream. The jet stream is located over the central continental United States, and that is providing some pretty strong upper level support for the storms that are ongoing today. And so that's why we kind of have an unusually high severe weather threat for today, as we're going to show you in just a moment. And so going to look at 500 millibars, and we see here is our shortwave trough that has been pretty well advertised in the past few videos. That is going to be taken off to the east here, swing off to the northeast here pretty quickly. And so this shortwave is not really timed all that well for a substantial threat of severe weather for the south. So since it's going to be taking off to the east so quickly, that's going to sort of mitigate the higher end threat of severe weather for today. Go down to 850 millibars. And given that we do have a pretty potent shortwave, we have actually a pretty decent low level mass response from this storm system. We have about a 30 to 40 knot low level jet that is extended from the mid-south region up into the northeastern United States. And so that's not something you see too often this late in the summer. So that's pretty unusual. And then we're going to look at the surface. We have our surface low that is just east of Michigan, and we have a cold front that is trailing down through the Great Lakes and down into the southern plains. And then we have a warm front that is going to be situated over New York and parts of the Northeast. And so we have a pretty favorable warm sector that is ahead of this storm system and so that's going to be setting the stage for a significant round of severe thunderstorms. So here is the SPC severe weather outlook for today. We have a level 4 out of 5 moderate risk for parts of the mid-Atlantic region. That includes Washington, D.C., and then extending back down into West Virginia and parts of northern and western Virginia. And so this is primary, and we have a pretty broad level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk surrounding that moderate risk, that it does extend back into North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley. And so this is primarily going to be a threat of damaging straight line winds. We have the Storm Prediction Center is concerned with wind gusts that could exceed 75 miles per hour in that black hatched region that you see. That's the reason why they upgraded to a moderate risk. But even in those 45 and 30% contours you see outlined here, we could have a widespread damaging wind episode from storms today. And then we have the potential for large hail as well. And there could be a couple of tornadoes. The tornado threat looks to be maximized from about eastern Kentucky up through the mid-Atlantic region, where that moderate risk zone is outlined. With the severe weather potential for today, I do want to show what the environment currently looks like right now. And so we're going to show you what the CAPE values for today, or at least for this morning. This is at around 9 a.m. this morning, and we already have a pretty unstable environment. CAPE value is already exceeding 2,000 joules per kilogram across much of the southern U.S. and up into the Ohio Valley. So that's really unstable, and that's going to provide a lot of fuel for storms today. And then we also have pretty strong wind shear for storms to maintain their organization. And so we have about 40 to 50 knots of effective deep layer shear for today. And so that's really going to help storms maintain their organization. So storms that are currently developing, I don't think they're going to be dissipating really anytime soon. And so now that we know what kind of environment the storms are going to be in today, we're going to look at the timing for these storms. So this is model simulated reflectivity. This is for about 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time, about lunchtime Eastern Daylight Time. And so for storms today, they're going to be about ready to be getting organized across the Appalachians. We go fast forward a couple of hours. I'll stop here. So storms across the Appalachian Mountains are going to be banding together during the early afternoon. This is at around 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And so this is when the damaging wind threat is going to be really start to ramp up. And so storms across the Appalachians could produce widespread damaging winds, and also can't completely rule out a couple of tornadoes. Down to the south, storms. This model has storms entering Alabama during the early afternoon hours. I think this might be a couple hours too slow. So I think storms are going to be getting into Alabama by around lunchtime today. And then be tracking through the Tennessee Valley during lunchtime and during the early afternoon hours. And so storms down in the Tennessee Valley could also have the potential for damaging straight line winds greater than 60 miles per hour. I don't expect to see a tornado threat to materialize across North Alabama, as I don't think the environment just supports tornadic development today. Then, as we're going to go through the afternoon today, and so at around 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, storms are tracking through Pennsylvania down into Maryland, approaching Washington, D.C., and we're tracking through Virginia and down into the Carolinas. And then this is when the damaging wind potential is probably going to be maximized and could be producing damaging winds up to around 70 to 80 miles per hour today as they track through the Mid-Atlantic region during the early evening hours, as they go through track towards the eastern seaboard and down into the far southeastern United States. And so they're going to be moving offshore by middle of the evening. So this is around 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And so they will be moving offshore by that point. So that's going to be all that I have for today. So to recap, storms are going to be developing or continue to develop over the next few hours across the Appalachians, and then stretching back down into the Tennessee Valley by around lunchtime. And then they'll be tracking through North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley regions during around lunch hour and during the early afternoon hours, with mostly a damaging wind threat. And then as storms track through the Appalachian Mountains today and during the early afternoon hours, they'll be producing widespread damaging winds with a lower end potential of a tornado or two. And then they'll be tracking towards the East Coast today during the evening hours. And so that's all that I have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.